Super progressive, what is good? Today we have an expanded presentation about something that I spend more time than I think most people should ever spend, which is growing your Instagram while spending less time on social media for DJs and producers. And while I am not a DJ and producer of the stature of the artists that I cover, the artists that I'm hired to help, and a lot of the artists in this presentation today, this is what I feel I know best. So let's get into it. This presentation all about growing your Instagram while spending less time on social media. We're going to do the presentation. I have for anyone really interested in doing everything they can to grow their Instagram in as little time as possible, I have a bonus offering for you. And then I'm going to open the floor to everyone here and answer all of your questions directly to the best of my ability. I think the presentation should take between 45 minutes and an hour, and then we will get to your questions. And you can leave questions in the Q&A section on Zoom, or you can leave questions in the chat, and I will try and get to all of them. About me, my name is William. I just turned 30 years old. I'm feeling very old now. I started Super Progressive when I was 26, and it was a lot easier to go and say, a lot more interesting to say, hey, I'm this 26-year-old kid interested in underground progressive house music from the 90s and beyond. Now that I'm 30, I feel like it's lost its allure a little bit, but my passion remains the same. I run Super Progressive. I started it during the pandemic, and I've been running it now for 3.5 years. The first 2 years, I posted every single day and grew the following from 0 people to about 3,000, and it stayed at around 3,000 people for a full year. And in the last 18 months, a couple things happened. One, I feel like I figured out Instagram, and I began to grow the account, and in a year and a half, we grew the account from 3,000 of you, and I know a lot of you here are probably there from the day one days when we were doing mixed compilation reviews and reaction videos and stuff like that, to now where it stands over 100,000 followers, which is amazing to me. I get to go and interview some of my all-time DJ and producing heroes for the Super Progressive podcast, which I've been doing since the start. And along with Super Progressive, I also do professional hired social media work as a social media manager for some of my DJ heroes. When I was living in America, before I moved here to Manchester, UK, I worked directly for Danny Tenaglia, going to his house each day as his social media manager. Best job of all time. Since moving to the UK, I've helped out DJs like Dave Seaman with some social media projects. I've helped out, his Celador label and a host of other freelance projects. But everything I do, I spend 100% of my time try and dedicate it to this progressive underground community through my podcast, through my work, and through the content that I create. So that's a little bit about me. I imagine all of you who are here know a little bit about Super Progressive since you're here, but for people who will see this after, I just wanted to introduce myself a little bit. Okay, the mission of this webinar, I'm going to break it down because it's really cool to me that we have some up-and-coming DJs and producers here, and we have some of my favorite DJs and producers on the planet with us today, because everybody wants to kind of figure out this Instagram thing. But I kind of segmented the audiences, so there's 2 audiences, and I have 2 different missions for each, but there's going to be lessons in here that everyone can take something away from. For up-and-coming DJs and producers, for DJs and producers who are early on in their journey, who are getting started out and want to make a go of making a career out of being a DJ or being a producer, or want it to be something they do on the weekends, or just want it to be something where they can, express their passion for this music, I hope this webinar can help you create content that will gain you followers to help you build an engaged music community. That is for anyone, I'd say, who is looking, has the passion for DJing, but is looking to connect with others, is looking to build fans of their music and their mixes, and is looking to kind of build their stature to help them get more gigs, to help them get opening gigs for some of their DJ heroes. A huge amount of you are kind of in that category. But it's also for established DJs and producers. Those are the DJs and producers that are releasing routinely on labels, that are playing out and gigging in the clubs each month, each season. And for you all, while you may already have your audience and you're releasing music and you're trying to build more super fans, all I want this for you is, because I don't make the rules, unfortunately, social media following plays a role in getting booked and getting better and better slots. So all I want this for you is to eliminate reasons why a producer or label won't hire you so you can earn more work. The music should be the only thing that matters. Unfortunately, that's just not the reality of the world that we live in. None of us make those rules, but I really hope some of these things you may learn in this webinar can at least remove the hesitancy or reasons why a label or a promoter would say no to hiring you or releasing your work, because the talent is there, obviously, and the passion is there for everyone. This is really key, because for a social media webinar, we could focus on a million different things. We could focus on how to build more super fans, how to turn people who listen to your Spotify mixes and follow you on Instagram to how to get them to come out to your gigs, and how to become more passionate fans of yours. That's not the point of this webinar, because we can't cover it all. This webinar is specifically focused on how you can spend less time on Instagram and more time focusing on your work, which is improving your DJing, improving your productions, and ultimately dedicating more of your time to the music where it belongs and less time on social media. There's only so much time in a day, and I think the biggest problem all producers and DJs have is they're just not getting enough time to focus on their music, because all of these other distractions not only take up their time, but messes with their creative headspace. Like, you can log on to Instagram, if you spend 3 hours making a reel when you should have spent those 3 hours working on your productions or making a new DJ mix or working on that new radio show, and then you spend those 3 hours making a reel, and then because the reel's not optimized for growth for whatever reason, it doesn't perform well. That's got to be one of the worst feelings as an artist, when as much time as possible should be put into your art. So I'm definitely going to focus on that. So it's spend less time on Instagram, less time on social media, more time on DJing and producing, and while spending more time on DJing and producing, still growing your following. So that's what this is all about. Okay, this presentation, this is what I'm generally going to teach in this presentation, so you have an idea of what's upcoming. Going to go over what I know about the algorithm. I don't work at Meta. I just know from my experience. I'm going to share with you everything I know about leveraging Instagram's algorithm that is ever changing, but these are some kind of tenets or rules that I always follow. What content specifically helps attract new followers and is best for growth. How to spend less time coming up with post ideas, because I find that most time, while it goes into editing, also when you wake up and you don't know what to post, but you feel like you have to post, that's the worst feeling too, is just sitting there like, what should I even post? Like, I don't even know. I'm going to have some kind of prompts and ways for you to get over that and continually come up with fresh ideas about what to post. How to leverage Instagram's algorithm and leverage Instagram itself to specifically reach non-followers and turn them into followers, how to get those followers become more engaged with your profile, and there's simple editing and copywriting tips that I'm going to share with you to get more comments and engagements on each post that you do, how to properly edit content. And again, this is in the name of saving time, because believe it or not, the most professionally edited content on Instagram doesn't always result in the content that performs the best. And I'm going to tell you what the difference between is before that. And then there's some specific tips. One thing that I got when I chatted with a lot of you about what you want me to cover is a lot of you that are DJs have radio shows, but it feels really hard to promote them in a way that's engaging and to reach new listeners. So I'm going to go into a little bit of that too. This is how the Instagram algorithm works. If you post routinely on Instagram, you already know this. It's hard enough to, it's really hard to reach non-followers. It's already hard enough to reach all of the people that already follow you. So what's happening with the algorithm? And I'm just going to tell you from what I've learned from using Instagram daily, how it works. What's happening with the Instagram algorithm is that when you send out a post, that post is going out to a batch of your followers. Let's say that post, whether it's a reel, a carousel, whatever, that post is going out, let's say for round numbers, to 100 of your followers. Now, it goes out to 100 of your followers based on how many people of those 100 interact with your content by liking it, by commenting it, and most importantly, and I'll get into this, most importantly, adding it to their story or direct messaging it and sharing it to another person on Instagram. How many people interact with your content in their first 100, then it's going to get pushed to the next 100 people, in some cases the next 500 people, depending on how big your following is. And it keeps going through these tiering systems. So what we're focused on is that ratio engagement. So for the first 100 people that your post gets pushed out to, if, let's say, over 50% of the people are reacting to it, it's going to get pushed out to more people. And when it gets pushed out to more people, if a favorable amount of those people continue to interact with it, it's going to keep getting pushed out to more and more of your followers. And then there's a threshold. When Instagram decides that your followers are really enjoying the content, that's when Instagram starts to push it out to non-followers. And how they do that is you will get placement one in the explore page, which is that little magnifying glass on Instagram where some people go, I don't think people usually use this that much, but it'll come up on their explore page. But really, the best possible thing for happen, it will come up as a suggested post. And I think you all experience this when you're going through Instagram. A lot of the time, you'll see posts from accounts that you don't follow. And that's what being a suggested post means. So when your content does really well with your following, it's going to get pushed out to people who don't follow you, because Instagram can anticipate that other people are going to like this as well. And this is why my first big tip, it is never advantageous to buy followers, because when you buy followers, that ratio of engagement is completely ruined. Because yes, your follower number may go up, but the amount of people that follow you that will never engage with your content also goes up. So you're actually hemorrhaging, like you're ruining your engagement ratio. So now, say you were at 1,000 followers and you bought 5,000 followers and you're like, oh great, I'm at 6,000 followers, this is awesome. The problem is when it gets pushed out to those first 100 people, 75 of them are going to be accounts that you bought as followers and they don't interact. So Instagram's going to be like, wow, this person's posting content that not even their followers are interacting with. We're not going to show this to anyone. We're not even going to show it to more of their own followers. So never buy followers. It also speaks to the fact that you should never compromise like your voice, the type of content that you make, because what we're after is that engagement ratio. If I started posting, let's say like Calvin Harris clips and David Guetta clips and current Tiesto clips and whatever, it wouldn't be advantageous to me, because even though those accounts and those kind of DJs have millions of followers, my followers don't want to see that. My followers want to see stuff that that they're following me for. So they're not going to engage with that unless it's like hate comments. But also, if I were to bring in followers from that kind of EDM world, and they're not going to interact with my underground posts, and then those posts are not going to reach more people interested in the underground. So the point is, one, don't buy followers, and two, always just be true to what you are, because it will serve you in the long run. The most important metric for growth is that little thing that's circled there. That is the share button. Now, when a share is when someone either adds your post to their story or DMs it to one of their friends in like Instagram DM. Why this is most important is this is how a post goes viral, essentially. Because say you're a producer with 1,000 followers and you post a video. Maybe it's you giving a production tip or something like that. Or even better, maybe you're a DJ and you're posting a video that you took 10 years ago from the dance floor when you were just a clubber, seeing your hero, seeing someone like John Digweed for the first time. And it's a post about, how you 10 years ago, you were a clubber on the dance floor, you took this video, and now next month you're going to be someone who's opening up the room for John Digweed. And you can't believe how far you've come in this journey. If I were to see a post like that and I'm like, this is amazing, I really identify with this, I'm going to add this to my story, all of a sudden, you have people who are seeing your content are now included in that range, are all 100,000 of my followers. Every time someone views a story, it's counted as a view of your reel. So that's why ultimately what you're trying to do is post content that your followers will add to their story. And that's why we really have to get at posting more content than just your next gig flyer, than just, hey, I'm William Noglows and I have a track coming out on whatever label 2 weeks from now. Please go support it on Beatport. That type of content, that promotional content, while it's necessary because you have obligations, it's not what people are going to add to their story, and it's not how you're going to reach non-followers. Now, I'm going to go back, because you see this views analytics thing where ideally more non-followers are seeing your post than followers. For example, this John Digweed clip that I literally posted last week, it reached 73% of non-followers and resulted in 330 new followers. Like, that's freaking amazing, right? Why that happened, not why that happened, but why I can see that, and I want to make sure all of you, every single person in this webinar has this, is because my account is set up as a professional account. So I could not advise you enough for right now, take out your phone, go into Instagram, click on settings, scroll down in settings to for professionals, go to account type and tools, and switch to professional accounts, because what it will allow you to do is to get a whole dashboard of all of your analytics, and now you can start to see how many non-followers are you reaching with each post, how many new followers are reaching, or is each post bringing you in, and I'll show you later in the presentation, like how many followers a single post can bring you in. But I think we can all understand why having this much data accessible to us is super important, because you get insights. You get to know, okay, when I post this kind of content, it gets the most types of comments. When I post this type of content, it gets me more and more and more followers. And this is what I realized with Super Progressive. I started really honing in on my analytics, seeing what specific types of posts were getting me actual new followers. And that's why for basically the past 2 years, if you followed the account, at least over 50% of my posts are those archival rave moments from 10 years ago or more that no one has ever posted to Instagram before, because those are the ones that perform best for me. And then you find what works for you. You find what type of content is bringing you in the most followers, most engagement, and then you can start to feel like the content that you're making is actually serving you and actually growing your audience. And you're not just wasting your time creating reels, editing reels in Adobe Premiere and whatever, and hoping it works. You'll have a feeling, you're like, I know this type of content brings me in new followers. I'm going to focus on that. It makes social media, one, you're going to spend a lot less time on it, and two, you're just going to have a better relationship. You don't have a relationship with social media apps, but you're going to have a better, just like a better approach to it, let's say, and it's not going to dominate all your time that you could be focused on improving your productions, improving your DJ mixes. Here's some hard data for you, because I'm always looking at reports. If you want to increase your reach, if you want to reach new accounts that don't follow you yet, post a reel, because those reels reach new accounts on average 35% more than carousels or single photos. For engagement and for comments, I find reels work, but the data says that carousels of photos and videos actually work best if you're looking to get more engagement. And in my opinion, if you're looking to seriously grow your account, you're gonna want to do both. Post reels, post carousels, and I get way more in depth in this later in the presentation. Okay, building your audience. Imagine this. When you're through Instagram, you can meet new people each day, because when you post content that reaches new followers, you're essentially people are meeting you for the first time through your content. How to turn them into followers most effectively, I found, is to post content that shows that you have something in common with this potential new person. If I meet you, this is the analogy I use. Say I'm William Noglows and I have a new track out on whatever, I'm a producer, and I meet you on the dance floor of a John Digweeder, Sasha, Nick Warren gig. What are we going to talk about? Are we going to spend 20 minutes talking about my new release on some on a small label? And if anything, the person that I'm speaking to, they're going to say, dude, that's awesome. Congratulations. And that's it. Or are you going to talk about hey, you're at the John Digweed gig, I'm on the John Digweed gig. How many, you're going to start talking about all the memories that you've shared going to John Digweed gigs. Maybe you guys both went to, the Bedrock Nights down in Brighton when they first started. Or maybe you guys went to the first Bedrock gigs in Hastings. And you're going to spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes talking about the bunker sessions during the pandemic and how positive that was for you during a really dark time. Basically, what I'm saying is, what people don't have in common with you is your music yet. What they do have in common with you is your interests, your influences, what types of memories that you have in this scene. And that's why, in my opinion, less than 50% of your posts should be about your own announcements, about musical projects, gigs, releases, and more than 50% of your posts should be about your interests, your influences, your passions, and even your techniques, because this is what other people can relate to you to. And all we're looking for on social media, I think, is to look for accounts that we have in common with. I'm not a DJ, I'm not a producer, but what people have in common with me is this shared passion for this music. And I think when someone who doesn't follow me comes across the Super Progressive page, it's very clear to them that this guy has an insane passion and enthusiasm for progressive underground music, for DJs like Sasha and Anthony Papa and Danny Tenaglia, just like me. This is somebody that I want to see more and more content from. And I'll give you a truth, I love getting on camera and saying my bits, but when I'm on camera, those are the worst performing posts that I have. When I post a rave clip from 1999, when I post an interview clip from the most recent interview with GMJ and Matter, or a recent interview with Luke Chable or something like that, those are the clips that really, really perform well and bring in new followers, because that's what we can relate about. Nobody knows me, essentially. Like, nobody can relate. Like, nobody has me in common with me. They have our shared passion and enthusiasm for this music in common with me. So that's why, in my opinion, more than half of your posts should not just be about your upcoming projects, your upcoming gigs. I know we all have to promote our stuff, but that can't be the only thing you do on social media, because you will never grow your account outside of, your biggest fans that you've made already and your close friends and things like that. This is another kind of core belief before we get into specifics, and it just speaks to what I just said. Social media is karmic, and that might sound like bullshit, but all I'm trying to say is that when you give people entertainment or insights or something fresh through content, more than you ask them to support whatever you're doing with your release or your gigs, your account's going to grow. If you're asking more of your following than you're providing them in terms of entertainment or insights, your account's not going to grow, because there's like a karmic, in my opinion, it's almost like a karmic imbalance where you're asking for more than you're giving. Obviously, you're giving with your music, but it's kind of disconnected from social media. So if you're asking for people to support you more than you're giving things for them to be excited about in content, your account's not going to grow. And that's just like a way I constantly try and think about it. How am I bringing enjoyment and value to my followers' kind of social media experience in a way that's more so than just asking them to support me over and over and over again, if that makes sense. Okay, so these are specific things. Now we're going to start to get into the specifics. These are specific things that I post that I feel like attract new followers, because it allows me to talk about things that I might have in common with other people out there in social media, like other potential new followers that might enjoy my page. I started this by just reviewing and talking about in the caption all of my favorite mix compilation CDs and my thoughts about them. I think that's something that every single person in this webinar can speak to, is we love to talk about our favorite music. We love to talk about those CDs that got us into this music. We love to talk about those long car rides where you played a specific global underground over and over again, or the mix that you played every time at the afters when you got home from the clubs. So other people, honestly, probably share the same opinions as you. We all love this music. Either they agree with you or they have their own specific favorites, but posting about music that was influential to you is a really good way to attract other people that like the same music as you and have something in common with you. I also post about not only just albums, but the specific tracks that are kind of the tracks that define what this music has become. If you follow my page, you know I post a bunch of those things. I'm a connoisseur of, like, I want to know everything I possibly can about this music and its history. I'm always watching YouTube interviews. I'm always listening to podcasts, and I'm always, whether it's my content or not, I'm always dicing them up. Like, I'm downloading them. Like, I'm not gonna lie, all I do, YouTube to MP4, YouTube to MP3. I download the interviews. I find the part of the interview that speaks to me, and then I post it and I share my thoughts about it, and I credit the original person in the caption. But what I would love to see, like, you don't need my permission to do this, but I'm giving everyone permission. Go through, if you like, if the DJs that I interview for Super Progressive are impactful to you and have, are some of your favorite DJs, go through those interviews, download them, and chop them up into clips and post it as your own content. Write your own captions for them. I don't care. It's what I do all the time. As long as you show love and credit the source in the caption, like, just go for it and share. You don't have to have your own podcast to post podcast clips of DJs that you enjoy. Like, just post other people's content, add your own perspective, and credit them. And it's a great way to show who your influences are and what you're all about. I also do like reviews of gigs that I attend, and of course archival rave clips, because that's what most people want to see. But those are just examples of everything that I post that has nothing to do with me personally. They're just things I like, things I find impactful, things that I find motivating, things that I really connect with. So again, there's really easy ways and specific ways for you to post more than just your next announces, than just your next DJ gigs, than just your next releases, things like that. And it's in the caption. It's in the caption where you can start building your voice and your perspective. And the reason why people are going to follow you is, one, you're making amazing music, you're making amazing DJ mixes. Two, you have a really cool and unique perspective and voice on the scene and everything else that's happening. So they not only want to enjoy your music, and they not only want to enjoy your DJ mixes and your productions, but they also enjoy just seeing what else you're enjoying in this scene. And that doesn't mean you have to be like me and get behind a mic and just talk to all of the internet like every day. You can do this via just posting a photo of an album that you love and sharing your thoughts. Like, I think about it all the time. If someone like Danny Tenaglia were to post, an album that they love and share why they love it so much, that's going to go insane on Instagram, because everybody just wants to know what Danny thinks about something. A project I specifically worked with Dave Seaman on was launching his record collection Reel series, which has done so well, not only in bringing new followers, but mainly in bringing his community together. He's going through his record collection, he's picking out records that he loves so much, and he's sharing the stories behind them. He didn't produce those records. He may not have even played those records out early in his career at Renaissance or Shelley's or anything like that. They may have just been records he bought as a teenager before he even started working at DMC at the record shop, and they left a big impact on him. But even people like Dave Seaman are posting content, just sharing their perspective, using their voice to share things that they like and give flowers to and put the spotlight on other amazing artists as well. How I think about it is this. All of us here are DJs, essentially, right? One of the most important things as a DJ is to be able to read the dance floor, read the room, know what your audience wants, knows what the dance floor wants without them telling you what they want. That's your skill as a DJ. And honestly, it's like a skill you develop over time, but it's a skill that you can apply to things outside of just playing to a dance floor. And I am positive all of you have this skill within you. You know what your potential audience wants on social media. Like, you know what, I think you guys have a good idea of what your followers truly, truly like. So just take that DJ mindset that you do when you're playing to a dance floor and you have so much confidence in the music that you're playing. Try and bring that same approach to just what you're doing on social media and just be like, hey, I think, I have a good feeling the people that follow me are going to really like this type of content, this type of clip, my thoughts on this. And once you start to be able to do that, this whole social media thing starts to become easier and easier. And it goes back to this idea that if I play Heaven Sent on the dance floor during one of my gigs, it's going to be like, this kid's playing a classic, nice, like low-hanging fruit. If John Digweed were to play Heaven Sent on the dance floor at a Bedrock event for his last track of the night, it might be the greatest moment of my life. And it comes down to two different DJs can play the same track, and it has vastly different effects. It sounds differently. It hits the dance floor differently. Same thing goes for these types of social media posts, where even if somebody's already posted something about, let's say, Northern Exposure, or someone's already posted about something about Renaissance, the Mix Collection, I am definitely not the first person to ever post about these things. But I just do it in my voice, in my perspective, and it impacts the people who sees it in a different way, because I'm being true to myself, and I've built up a unique perspective being someone who has come after all of this music. But all I'm trying to say is just because someone else posts something about something doesn't mean you can't post about it, because your perspective and your voice can have a bigger impact than what someone else may have. And just believe in that, and believe in yourself, and believe in your perspective, believe in your voice, believe what you can bring to the table. Okay, these are some examples. Some of them are from me, some of them are not. But look at this. These are specific posts that I've done, but other people have done, that have nothing to do with me and have brought in an insane amount of followers to the page. This first one, the Prodigy one, is not even mine. I encourage everyone to look up. I'm looking up the Instagram account right now. Paul James Nolan, really nice guy, really nice guy, really passionate fan of this music, but he's also a producer and a master of music, and has worked with Sasha, but he's worked with Sasha on specific projects, but okay, he's not like headlining Glastonbury or something like that, but he's very, very passionate and involved in this scene. He posted this How the Prodigy Made This Track video. Gets it from YouTube, simply posts the track. This brings him in 6 million views, and I'm sure of it. Brings him in over 15,000 followers. Now, his following, I think, if I pull up his account again, his following is close to 30,000, 29.4 thousand people. And that's, part of that's because, yes, he's very talented musician in his own right, but clips like these expose him, and he's sharing his passion with 6 million people. It's like a huge, huge way that he's grown his account from probably a few thousand to now close to 30,000. This, and then the next 3 are me posting clips. I have nothing to do with these clips. I just found them interesting, or I found these albums interesting, and posted about them. Obviously, Northern Exposure, I think all of us here, it's in all of our top 5 albums. I posted it, shared my thoughts. It performs really, really well. JD Plastic Dreams, a track, I wasn't even alive when this was produced, but you listen to it, you share your thoughts on it, and you share it with people, and all of a sudden, it's reaching a bunch of people that grew up with this track, and a bunch of people that have even stronger opinions than I do about this track, and memories on the dance floor with this track. It gets 2 million views, reaches 2 million people, 75,000 likes, 6,000 people added to their story, and you get 8,000 new followers just by you sharing something that you find interesting, putting your spin on it, and reaching a whole new audience. Same with this Laurent Garnier clip. I'll be honest, I'm not like a Laurent Garnier super fan, not because I don't think he's like an amazing musician. I'm just not there in my journey as a fan yet. I'm still in this like deep progressive stage. I haven't even kind of ventured out into the Laurent Garnier set, but like the Laurent Garnier world, which is its whole other world. But what he had to say about longer sets rang true to me, and it impacted me, and I brought it into this progressive world. It gets 1 million views. A lot of them are Laurent Garnier fans, but it's just another example how you can post stuff that's not related to you in the caption, add your own perspective, and you're going to reach people who really care about that stuff. Okay, most important question. This is going to be a lot longer than an hour, but it's okay. Most important question. How do you post content that you know will perform well while saving time? And this is the biggest, most important thing from this webinar. I admit, and again, this is a no bullshit podcast, or no bullshit webinar. I'm just telling you exactly what I do. I borrow from YouTube. Like, say what you want about that. People, it's almost like using a sample in a track. All you got to do is this. I really can't explain how much time this has saved me in posting content that I know will be successful on Instagram. Is go to YouTube, search a topic you want to talk about on Instagram, search that topic in YouTube, sort that search, and I'll show you a step-by-step way in the next slide. Sort it by most viewed. Find the videos that have the most views, but even more importantly, the most quality comments that people are engaged with this. YouTube to MP4 the video, download it, edit the part you like, post it as a reel, add your own caption, add your own perspective to it. Credit, make sure you do this because it's the right thing to do. Credit the original YouTube channel in your caption so you can drive traffic to them. And this is how you post. This is how you come up with content ideas and like specific real ideas that will work on Instagram without banging your head against your desk saying, what the hell should I post? Case in point, this John Digweed Cordoba reel I posted last week. I type in John Digweed to YouTube. Do you see the filters in the top right? Open that up. Sort by view count. We're going to sort by the most viewed videos. The top one I know for a fact, because I posted it before through this method, is Heaven Sent ending to Groove the Film, which I already posted about, but not for this one. I found this one 12 years ago, 181,000 views from John Digweed's account himself. John Digweed live in Cordoba, 9 minutes. I'm like, what are the chances that there's going to be a great 90-second clip in this that I can post to my Instagram channel and talk about? A 100% chance. This video looks amazing. Open it up. You see that there's 253 comments. Like, people have great memories of this night. People have, a lot to say. They're reflecting. It's nostalgic. People are engaged with it. So this whole process of finding this video and editing it down for Instagram, and we're going to get into editing later in the webinar, and editing it down to Instagram and posting it to Instagram with my caption, the whole thing took 15 minutes. And in that 15 minutes, what I did was earn 356 new followers and reached essentially over 100,000 accounts that don't follow my page. That is how we can be successful on Instagram without spending loads of time on Instagram itself. This took me 15 minutes, immensely successful, just because I knew what I was posting was going to be successful because I just borrowed it from another platform. It had success on YouTube. Chances are it's going to have success on Instagram. Okay, method 2. We're going to do the same exact thing, but we're going to borrow from Facebook groups. You're going to join a Facebook group about musical topics, artists, and genres you enjoy. You're going to find the most engaging posts that cause the largest discussion and cause the largest dialogues in the groups. And you're going to bring that same kind of content, the same content and the same discussion to your Instagram page. And, of course, you're going to credit the original Facebook group in the post. But this is how Super Progressive started. Right now, I encourage all of you to join, first and foremost, if you have Facebook, join the Progressive House Classics Facebook group, because it's a perfect example of a supremely engaged community and where you can find content that people have really strong opinions about, and then you can post that type of content. I also follow all of the artists and labels that I love on Facebook, always looking for the posts that generate the most engagement amongst the fan groups. This is how Super Progressive started. So here's 2 examples. And while these are my posts, you can analyze posts that aren't even your own posts, but these are 2 examples of posts I made in Facebook to kind of gauge the engagement, engage the interest from their following before posting on my page. This on the left is how Super Progressive started. My older cousin, Ned Shepard, one day, first day I moved to Los Angeles, he gifted me his old Global Underground collection. I go to Progressive House Classics, which I recently joined. I'm just like, yo, at the time I was 25. I'm 30 now. That's freaking insane. I said, these are some new albums I got. I know nothing about Global Underground. I just know I love this music. And I say, what does Global Underground mean to you? And I'm trying to really figure this out. If this is something this is before I ever made a YouTube video. I'm trying to learn, is this something people care about? Immediately, 52 comments on the post. The comments are all 3 paragraphs long. And it's like, okay, this is a topic that people care about, clearly in this Facebook group. I'm going to go ahead and make an Instagram series about it, and I'm going to make a YouTube series about it. And that was the birth of Super Progressive. When I started posting about the Instagram, when I started posting about GU on Instagram, and I started making those old illustrated, if you remember, those old illustrated Global Underground videos, which took so much freaking work. But I just found out that people care about this because if it works in a Facebook group, it's going to work on Instagram. More recently, I'm not sure if all of you saw the 15-minute mini documentary I made, kind of homemade documentary about Renaissance, the Mixed Collection on YouTube and on Instagram, but it started out as a post in a Facebook group when I'm like, okay, can someone explain this to me? It's like everyone says Renaissance, the Mixed Collection, is probably the most important mixed compilation album ever released. Can you guys please tell me why? Because I don't, we're 30 years removed from it. I don't necessarily understand why. 245 comments of people sharing their opinions. It is why it's like very obvious people are very passionate about, and it's why I continue to this day to go back and revisit Renaissance, the Mixed Collection, because it's one of the things that always performs best because people are just extremely passionate about it. And I knew that content was going to work on Instagram because it worked on Facebook. And that's really all this message is about, is borrowing from other platforms, seeing what works on other platforms, whether you're posting to other platforms or really just seeing the performance of other people's posts, and then deciding, okay, this is the type of stuff I'm going to share on my own Instagram page. I can't explain. Every weekend, I go on Progressive House Classics. I see what the most engaged posts with are in the Facebook group, see what classic tracks people love the most and things like that. And those are the topics that I bring over to my Instagram page and that I add my own perspective to. And say what you want, say you're stealing, say whatever. I'm just saying this is how I spend less time on Instagram, still do very successful posts, and free up myself to do things that I love, which is like, learn how to produce, DJ more, cook food, enjoy time with my girlfriend, all things like that. Other methods for growth. Now we're going to go into other things that people ask me specific questions about. Collaboration posts are a big thing people worry about on Instagram. I'll say this about collaboration posts. It's a double-edged sword. If you have it's a really effective way to reach a new audience. When you collaborate with someone, I think we all know this, but what you're doing is you're sending them a collaboration request, and that post is both going to your following and the person's following that you collaborate with. So this is what you want to do with collaboration posts is focus on people. Don't worry about the follower count, but focus on people with very engaged audiences, because those are the audiences that, one, are going to help the post do the best performance, but also those engaged audiences are going to be the ones that are most likely to cross over. And that's why you won't ever see me collaborate with like an account that has like millions of followers, like an EDM Lovers Club account or something like that, because even though those accounts have huge reaches, their following isn't as engaged. So if we go back to that metric of how posts do well in terms of reaching, in terms of like you want to perform well in the first batch, then it goes to the second batch and third batch, you want to just focus on collaborating with, even if they only have a few hundred or a few thousand followers, just focus on collaborating with the accounts that have the most engaged audiences, because those are actually the ones that are going to interact with the post and probably end up following your account. So some collaboration posts that I do routinely are, if there's an artist prominently featured on your radio show or a playlist you make, consider collaborating them when you're making the announcement of your new radio show or of your new playlist or of your new Beatport chart, because it's already an announcement. Like, you may as well try and reach as many people possible who may even care about this more than your own following. If there's a unique album or compilation you love, I think of like when I was getting started, I fell in love with Harry Lemonate's Inner Sanctuary Sessions. When I did my review of that album, I collaborated with him. because it's like something niche, it's something specific, it's something that the artist will appreciate you covering, and it's something that Harry Lemon's fans are being like, oh shit, there's another page covering Harry's music. I freaking love Harry's music. I'm gonna go and follow this page. So anytime you're kind of speaking about a niche album that you love, a specific producer that not many people may know about, those are the best accounts to collaborate with, because you're going to attract like those fans that really, really care about them. And it's just a great way to like build a good like building of a relationship with an artist or a DJ that you really, really look up to. And then the last thing is a little bit specific, but when you're announcing a gig, rather than collaborating with the host, venue, or promoter, because so many people outside of your niche or outside of your sound may follow that venue or promoter, that means the engagement rate's not going to be that great. But if you can collaborate on a gig post instead with another DJ that's in the same kind of sound as you, it's better to collaborate with them, because you know that their audience is also kind of looking for the same things that your audience is looking for. You guys are united by the same sound. So that's just like a small thing. I see it all the time, like artists collaborating with the venue when you should really, it's better to collaborate with the other artists on the bill. That's just a small specific thing. Collaboration downsides, we kind of like talked about this, but I've experienced this, is like one thing about collaboration posts and the algorithm for some reason is that when the algorithm will never like fully push a collaboration post as it would just a post from yourself. So if you have a really, really strong post, try and not collaborate on it, because it, like when you collaborate, it's guaranteed the only people you're going to reach are the people that follow you and the people that the followers of the collaborator. But if you think your post has a chance to reach a bunch of non-followers and perform favorably amongst them, a lot of the time with like old rave clips and stuff like that, don't do a collaboration, because Instagram, it pushes it to their following, but it doesn't push it within its own algorithm. Sorry, I'm talking so much, I'm starting to get a dry throat. So caption writing and video editing. Now these are specific, we're getting into editing now. These are specific editing tips that I use to best, it's kind of like how you optimize your post so it performs the best. Things to keep in mind when writing captions. First thing, most important, end every single caption you've ever write with a question that invites your audience to participate in the comment section. Meaning, I do a post about Northern Exposure. Obviously, the question you end on that is, what memories do you have with this mix album? And that's when you get your following commenting paragraphs and paragraphs about what this seminal album means to them. You're posting a radio show or a playlist. You include the track list, and all the artists are fully and properly tagged, which is huge. That's the most important thing for your radio shows and your playlist, that you properly tag every artist. But rather than ending your post on saying, hey, go check it out at the link in the bio, like lamest ending ever, say like, what are some new artists that you think I should feature on my next episode or in my next playlist? Or what tracks that weren't featured on this playlist or this radio show would you like to see featured next week? Just always ask a question to invite your, don't just assume your audience is going to participate. Really, really prompt them to participate with a question at the end of your captions. And all I will say also is, like, in the spirit of borrowing from other platforms, do your research, because for caption writing, followers love when they love, like, everyone loves to learn something new about something they already love. And if you can add a little piece of information that you found in the Discogs comment section or the YouTube comment section that adds a little more insight to something that people already know a lot about, most of the time people are going to be commenting like, oh, I didn't know that. That's really interesting. Or here's another golden nugget of info, and they're going to share their little thing that they know about this project that not many more people know about. But by doing your research and adding new information in the caption that people may not know about to something that's already very much celebrated, it just brings out the engagement inside people. Like, they're like, oh, I got to say something about this because I know something too about this. And then the last thing for your caption writing is that the first line, you should explain exactly what you're giving to your followers in this post. And that's why you'll always see me, like, top line, it'll be like classic album review, Northern Exposure, new radio show, January 2025, gig announcement, Skyline. Basically have like I think of it like an email subject line at the top of your post, because sometimes people don't read farther than that. And if you can grab their attention very quickly, you're going to be in a good spot. And then they're going to read the whole caption. And that's, then they're going to start appreciating your voice and perspective. Hashtags, people ask a bunch. People say hashtags are dead. I'm just like, if it's going to help me even this post reach 10 more people, I may as well do it. And I do genres, and then I do the artists and the cities. And just like take a look at this quickly. These are all the hashtags I use. I'm going to get a drink of water very quickly. Okay, I'm back. Don't use ChatGPT when it comes to captions, because it just comes across as inauthentic, and it comes across as it's just obvious. If you use ChatGPT, the second you start using ChatGPT, you're going to tell when other content creators are using it to write their captions, because it's going to be like opening paragraph, subject, sentence, subject, sentence. It just comes across inauthentic. People want authenticity on these social media things. So just don't ask ChatGPT to write you a caption. It can help you as a reference, but make sure you use your own voice. I also, another time saver, Instagram crashes for me a lot. I write all my captions in my notes app and then copy and paste them over, as opposed to writing them in Instagram, because I literally want to throw my phone out of my window when I'm writing a caption and Instagram crashes and I lose the whole thing. I actually want to kill someone. So that's just one thing I do. I write all my captions in the notes. Okay. So when it comes to video editing, the big idea is this. A highly produced, professionally edited video is not going to get you more followers than a video that is very directly, kind of like shittily edited. And it actually, the ones that are more direct perform better. And I'll show you in a second what I mean. But I used to spend hours like going to a gig and making a professional style recap video for Instagram. I'm sure a lot of you DJs here potentially spend hours and potentially hundreds of dollars hiring a videographer to make a professional recap video. That is dead. Like, I know they look cool. That is completely dead. Those videos never perform better than just the raw iPhone video of the best moment from your gig. I'm telling you, do not spend your time and money on making official recap videos if you are not like a DJ that's in that like headlining realm yet. And I get it, because it's kind of a compromise you make. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having all of your content look as professional as possible, but all I'm saying is this, the point I'm trying to make is I'm trying to save you time so you can spend more time on your music and less time making reels. So I'm trying to save you time and still increase your social media following. And it just kills me when I hear of DJs, they're like, ugh, I spent 6 hours making this recap video and like $500 on a videographer, and it goes and flops. And it's like, there is one thing about like having all your content looking very professional, but I think it's not worth the time. And that's all I'm saying there. This is something to keep in mind. Your time should be spent as much as possible on improving your mixes and productions. Music is your art. Instagram is not art. As artists, we all want to have everything be the best that it can be, but just like understand this, your art and what your best contribution is to this world is your music. So spend your time on your music. Spend your time on your productions. Spend your time on getting your DJ mixes better and better. Spend your time improving your music, because music is your not. Instagram is not art. And I think part of the reason why the scene and industry is where it is, because people have mistaken Instagram for art. And the fact is, someone with a lot of Instagram followers is not a better artist than someone else with less Instagram followers. But that's where we're at now. So just do not confuse the two. Music is your art. Instagram is not art. Here are some examples of reels that I've edited that are probably the worst edits of all time. I'm not kidding. When I say all I do is download the video from YouTube to MP4, I put it in the reel, and there is no editing. I'm finding the best 90 seconds, and I'm just putting it in. I put the thing on top, the title on top, and if there's speaking, I'll put the captions on the bottom. But it's all about just like capturing the attention. If you capture the attention and curiosity of someone coming across your page, they're not going to care how well it's edited or not. And these reels all took me under 10 minutes to make this, and they bring me in thousands, if not multi-thousands, if not literally this Touch Me reel, which took me 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes to make, just ripping a sentence from my podcast and adding this YouTube clip to it. 35,000 followers. This clip changed everything for me, just because the page went from 3,000 followers to 35,000 followers in 1 week. All of a sudden I had this audience to speak to. And it had nothing to do with editing. So don't feel like you have to spend a bunch of money and a bunch of time on editing. And I see people saying so inspiring. I hope you're not taking the piss out of me. I get it. I get that this stuff ultimately doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, I really do believe that you guys should be spending your time on your music and not spending your time on Instagram. Okay, I already spoke to this. Gig footage on an iPhone, raw footage, authenticity with good audio. Good audio is big. Will always outperform a gig recap video, professionally produced video. Do not let anyone tell you that you need to hire a videographer, because you don't. We all have the power with this thing right here to capture content that people want to see. Do not feel like you have to go out and spend everything you earned in your booking fee to hire a videographer or a photographer to go and cover the gig for you so you have something to show for it. It's bullshit. Some quick hits, some quick info. Editing software, I use Adobe Premiere Pro. It's expensive. I also do this for work, so I'm making the most of it. Use whatever you want. If you have an iMac, if you have a Mac, use iMovie. Nothing, you don't need anything. I'm just telling you what I use. Adobe Premiere Pro. My tools, two most important tools. YouTube to MP4 converter, YouTube to MP3 converter. Yes. Okay, no, I'm not going to go out and buy every single song that I use for an Instagram edit. I'm sorry. Again, I want to support every artist I can. I am someone, when I use videos and I use music, I am using a YouTube to MP4 converter, and I'm using a YouTube to MP3 converter. And then, obviously, crediting the artist in the captions, but this is how I get all my videos and all my music, for Instagram only, not for DJing, obviously, because you need high quality DJ music. Okay, these are just facts. All reels must be under 90 seconds to be promoted by the algorithm. If it's more than 90 seconds long, it'll either cut off or it becomes a video, which doesn't get pushed. A reel is under 90 seconds. The ideal length that I found is 45 to 60 seconds. It's short enough where people will watch the whole thing, but it's long enough where you can actually get your point across. Okay. When there is speaking in your reel, especially if you're posting interview clips of yourself or other artists, you should add captions, because most people are on the train or on the subway or on the bus. They are not playing the volume out loud. But if you can add captions, they will still read along. And even when volume's playing out loud, they will always choose to read along. So anytime words are being spoken, add your captions, and you can do that automatically with your editing software. For Adobe Premiere Pro, for people who use that, this is how you do it. You go to text, go to generate transcription. You're going to edit the transcription. You're going to edit the caption, and you're going to format the font. And I'm going to give you all of that right here. This is what it looks like when you have your transcription. Normally it's not as perfect as the one on the left, but you're going to make the edits in there. And then these are my stats. So take a screenshot of this or watch this back later. I don't even know how to describe what this is, but for all the people that don't want to deal with the technicalities, this is what I do. Maximum length in characters, 20. Minimum duration in seconds, meaning how long the words stay on the thing, 1.2 seconds. Gaps, 0, single. Again, I don't really know what this means, but this is just what I do and I wanted to share it with you. Audio. Extremely, extremely, extremely important, because half the time people like your stuff is because they like the music, which is great. Half the time they like the music, not necessarily the content, or it's the music that draws them in. So every time, every post, there's music, whether you're adding it through Instagram or you're manually adding it in your editing app for Reels. Always have background music. When there's someone talking over it, as you'll know from my clips, I like to keep it at negative 18 decibels when someone's speaking, so it's like kind of lurking in the background. Right, the people should be speaking as the track is building up. Right when the speaking ends is when the drop in the track should end, and you should raise the level of the track so when no one's speaking, the drop happens, and it happens at full volume. This sounds like kind of dumb, but it like adds a sense of emotion to the reel that makes it come across as really professionally done without putting much time or effort into it. It's what turns like interesting content into really good content, in my opinion. Adds a sense of emotion and epicness to the reel. So that's why when I post an interview reel from one of my podcasts, you know, they're saying their little quote, their little clip, it's building up, it's building up, it's building up. When they finish speaking, the drop happens, the volume goes full up, and my logo shows, but it's like boom, and it adds a sense of epicness to what the DJ just said. That's all I'm saying. That's it. I'm gonna get into questions very soon, but to summarize, the ultimate goal is to grow your following while spending less time on Instagram and more time on your productions and your DJing. People follow you for your music, but also your perspective. So speak to both. Make your gig announcements, make your release announcements, show, promote everything you have to promote, but also recognize that people want to hear your thoughts, your opinions, what inspires you about stuff beyond your music too. Save time. Most important thing, save time by checking what content has been created and has earned successful engagement on other platforms like YouTube and Facebook, and bring that over to your Instagram channel. Borrow from YouTube, borrow from Facebook. Find what works, find already successful content there, and bring it to your Instagram. Think about it like this. The media, the video you show or the photo you show is where you grab attention. The caption is where you add your perspective and your voice. That means you can keep your media very straightforward and simple, and it can be edited kind of in a shitty way. And you can then add your perspective and voice. That's where the caption is great, to add your voice to something, especially if it's something that is not your music or your DJ gig. You're commenting on an album that you love so much. You can just post an image of the album, or post a reel, even better, of a DJ playing out that a track from the album, and then you sharing your thoughts and your memories in the caption. Professional, I can't stress this enough, professionally edited videos does not mean it's better content. Authenticity and rawness are what do best. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Be a DJ. I really like this idea. Use your Instagram to bring all of your tastes and interests together. I know each and every one of you, if you think about it, you know what your audience likes, and just be a DJ. Just like you are for a dance floor, be a DJ to your Instagram audience. May sound dumb and corny, but I actually believe this. I literally put myself in my followers' shoes and say, what do these people like? A lot of the time, I ask them directly. I'm like, what do you want to see more of? And I just do it. Last thing, I'll stress it for everyone. Your music is your art. Instagram is not art. Do not spend too much time on Instagram. Spend more time on your music and on your productions and on your DJ mixes. That's all I want for all of you. So now we come to, if you think, if you kind of understand these ideas, but you want to jumpstart on doing this right now, growing your Instagram with me guiding you. I've never done this before. I've only done work with professional touring DJs like Danny Tenaglia, like Dave Seaman, but I'm going to host an 8-week online group course starting February 1st, taught by me, managed by me, and you'll have direct. It's like it's a group class, but it's almost a private lesson because there's going to be new classes each week in Zoom where we're all going to meet each week, multiple times per week, multiple time zones, because I'm just going to teach you exactly how to promote your radio shows, how to promote your releases, how to come up with content ideation, how to schedule your content, how to edit it, how to sustain growth, and how to make more viral videos. But I'm also going to work with you directly, meaning I'm going to do a review of your current social media account and tell you what I think you can focus on. You're going to be able to send me your content, your captions, your reels before you post it. And you're going to be able to send it to me, and I'll give you direct feedback about how it can be improved and how you can, make it better before you post it to your audience, just so you get the most out of it. And then the two other things that are extremely important are you're going to be added to the super progressive social media group on Facebook and Discord, where it's a private group for everyone in the lesson, where we're going to leave feedback and make recommendations for each other on the post. Before it goes live, you can share with us your drafts, and we're going to give you direct feedback. And even more importantly, you're going to join the super progressive engagement group, where everyone in the course is going to be in this group. And when you post something, you're going to share it in this group, and then we are all going to go on Instagram and add those posts to our stories, leave comments, and interact with the post. So you're getting that, when it goes out to that first batch, you're getting that early engagement from everyone in this group, and it's going to allow your post to reach more people that don't follow your posts. It's going to cost... I'm going to dedicate an insane amount of time to this. It's going to become the main thing I focus on for work. And I want to do it at a rate that's, one, affordable, as affordable as I can possibly make it. And two, I'm going to give you the tools that, after this 8 weeks, all I want is for you to continue to post this and continue to post and continue to have success. So you're going to learn tools that you're going to be able to go and do this by yourself. I'm charging $25 per week. So the 8-week course costs $199, $200 basically in total. But I really want to keep it at $25 per week. And I'm going to I'm posting the link right now. I'm going to try and keep it to 20 people so we can keep it manageable. But if you want to join this, I'm only offering it to people in this webinar, and I just put the link in the chat, and you can join there. I'll post more about this, but I wanted to give it to you guys first, because once we reach a certain number of people, around 20, we're going to cut it off, because we want it to be a small group that I can really give my individual attention to. So yeah, that's the bonus offering. Last thing I'll say is, if you think that you join and then you think this is not for you after 2 weeks, just let me know and I'll give you your money back. Again, this is just I just really want to help the people that are taking this seriously and really just want to do their best to grow their following as quickly as possible so they can focus more time on music and focus more time on their DJing and producing. And this is the best way I came up with that. And again, if you feel like it's not for you after signing up for 2 weeks, no problem giving you a refund. Q&A. Thank you so much for everyone who signed up for this. Like, seriously, thank you. It's given me an opportunity to share everything I've learned, and now I want to answer your questions directly, because I'm sure people have direct questions. I see the comments here. I'm really happy that you guys found this very helpful. And yes, so questions. From the presentation, I understand posting things that people can relate, can earn engagement, but being an artist and a person, I do think that the focus should be on us rather than others, as it is our own personal page. Otherwise, it might be more like an SP role rather than an artist. This is a very valid question. So how can we adapt this to our role? I think first and foremost, as DJs and producers, let's look at DJing. Like, I understand you don't want to post about other people's content. It should be about you. But as a DJ, you're intrinsically bringing things, you're bringing different interests, your musical interests together. So there is a way to make this fully about you while posting content that is beyond you. For example, if you're a DJ, what's one thing they did in the 90s and continue to do today that is not about their music? A DJ chart, right? Like in Mixmag back in the day, all the DJs used to post their charts of music that they were playing in the clubs. Like, your role as a DJ is to show your audience music that you think they'd love that they don't know yet. So perfect content for you to post is like, for example, let's say you're older and you want to say like a post that I would do is like, here are 5 tracks that worked on the dance floor in the early 2000s that still work today and I play in my sets. Now, that is completely personal to you. And that is completely like, that showcases who you are as a DJ. But what you get to do is go back and share quick clips of those tracks with your following. That's just one example I can speak to directly about how you can make content that's not about you, but it's still fully about your role as a DJ. So things like that. That's the answer to that question. I hope that kind of addresses it. But I do get what you're saying, that you don't want it to be another super progressive page. But you can just make it specific to you as a DJ. I hope that, I don't know who asked that questions, but I hope that it helped. Anonymous attendee. Does redistributing other artists' works, sets, albums, videos put us in a parasitic perspective to other artists, industry heads, even if we add our own thoughts and inspirations? I know people putting out their songs on videos of other DJs playing at Afterlife visual videos and blew up, but everyone knows who did that. Let me try and understand this one. Does redistributing other artists' works, sets put us in parasitic? Even if we add our own thoughts and inspirations. Okay. I just think there's a right way and wrong way to do this. I think there's a right way and wrong way to do this. I just think yes, I would never put put different music over an already existing video. But I will say this. If you're a producer and your biggest achievement, is there a biggest achievement than someone like Hernan Catano playing out your track to a dance floor? Or playing out your track on his radio show. That is on his resident radio show. That's the greatest achievement ever. So by rights, I think you're valid. If you have a clip of them playing out your track on a dance floor, by right, you have every reason to share that with your audience, because how else are you supposed to showcase that moment of success, in my opinion? That I'm not even sure if that's answering the question directly. Another thing that your question may be posting at is, again, yes, I don't think that like every post you do should be about other artists. But I just think if you're looking to grow your account and save time doing it, it's, and maybe I should have been a little bit more vocal, but it's about bringing together a combination of both things. Where maybe if you're sprinkling in some posts that don't have things directly to do with you amongst all the other personal posts that you're doing, it's a good way to balance it out and continue to grow, keep it personal to you. And I think, that's one thing I do want to emphasize right now. A good balance, I think, is also what we should be after. Not do too much of other people, but definitely, I just think it's really challenging for us to grow our following while only posting about ourselves 24/7, meaning about ourselves, meaning content featuring us. Like, I do think it's valuable. Another account that does great on this is John 00 Fleming. Like, he's always in like a very positive way in his own perspective, sharing his thoughts on other people's, not on other people's music, but sharing his thoughts on the scene in a way that's very personal for him. I follow him because I want to see what John 00 Fleming is thinking. And he doesn't do it via like how I do it, which can be like, on camera fucking going crazy. Like, he's just doing it in a very well articulated post in the caption, and it comes across very well. So, should I add multiple language captions if my content is not in English? Does it affect your post negatively if you aren't consistent? This is a great question, something I deal with, since I think most of my following is in 3 areas: United States, UK, and Argentina. I just found that posting in other languages, 1, takes up too much time. 2, I really think it's actually a positive for me, the fact that I'm not from Argentina, covering the Argentina scene, because, yeah, it's an interesting question, but I wouldn't worry so much about other languages, because when it comes to content, you can either appeal to everyone, try and appeal to everyone, or just make your reel the best possible reel it can be. When your captions are lined up with the voice that's saying, and it's very tight and it's one language, it just makes the reel the best it can possibly be. And the best reels are what like perform the best and bring in the most followers. It can get a little bit confusing. I know, like, theoretically it might make sense to add different languages, but you're just trying to like convey what you're thinking in the most simple, direct is the keyword, direct way as possible. So I stick to one language. Honestly, that would be my answer to that. Can this work for artists of other genres? Very much so, yes. Every genre has a history. Every genre has a culture. Every genre has characteristics unique to them. You can do this approach for any genre. I found that all my examples are based in progressive underground music because that's like my world. So that's what I focus on. And yeah, it can be applied to any genre with a rich musical history. How many kinds of posts do you suggest to post every day? Big thing. You do not have to post every day. I've cut back. I used to post every day. Now I post 2 to 3 times a week. Just because more posts does not mean more engagement, more reach. What I like to say is, you don't increase your chance of getting a new following by posting every day. By posting more posts, you get your chances of reaching a new following every day by posting more quality posts. So I would only post when you have a quality post, when you feel like you have something really interesting to share. And if that's once or twice a week, do not worry about that, because it's just a waste of time to post content, in my opinion, that is not, 1, that's a drag for you to make, 2, that you don't even want to make in the first place, and 3, isn't earning you new followers. So I would say just post only quality posts, and try to do that between 1 and 3 times a week, with the best time to post your best post being Sunday night that I found. Do we need to work on Facebook as we do on Instagram? Very interesting question. I used to be way better about my Facebook, but I found that I was just spending too much time on it. And I am like you. I have my life outside of social media, and I do not want to be spending all my time on social media. So I just found they like really complicated the integrations between Instagram and Facebook. And I found that if I'm in a mood where I just want to post to Instagram and I have a good thing and I don't want to spend any more time on social media, I'll just post to Instagram. If I'm having a lazy day at home or I have time to cross post it to Facebook, I will. But I think it's smarter to go all in on one platform than to do it on every platform and definitely get burned out. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. Any suggestions in terms of IG stories? IG stories are great. I think like IG stories, I wouldn't like stress about them, but I just found it's a great way. If you have like a question for your audience or you want to say something to your audience, but you don't know what type of content to pair it with for an Instagram post, and you don't feel like making a whole post about like just being a talking head on Instagram, just make it a story. And it's a great way for like, it's a great way for your audience to feel like they're engaged directly with you. So that's what I'd say about that. Like stories are great to like, I think most of the time I'm speaking with all of you is obviously in the captions of posts, but also when you respond to my stories, we get like a good back and forth going in the Instagram DMs. So anytime you just like have a question for your audience or want to pose something to your audience, but you're like, I don't know what to post with this question I'm asking or this discussion I'm kind of proposing, and I don't feel like going on camera and making just a talking head video, that's when I add things to my story. I've seen that my reach my follow drop when I spend days without following anyone. What can you say about that? Okay. I have doubts about whether it's necessary to follow others frequently on Instagram since I have seen that my reach and my followers drop when I spend days without following anyone. What can I say about that? Okay, this is what I'll say. I follow a very limited amount of people. I've probably been at, I don't know how many people I follow now, maybe about like 400. I'm really never following anyone new. I follow 436, and it's been that way for a few years. Just so you guys know, I lose over 100 followers a day on Instagram, and I'm gaining probably like 150 every day. Like, you're not doing anything wrong by losing followers. Like, I literally, like, it feels like a lot, but you just can't let it bother you. Like, I lose over 100 followers every single day on Instagram, and it's mostly because people are deactivating their accounts or cleaning up their Instagrams. They're having like a moment where they're like, I need to follow less people. I need to unclare my feed. People are going to unfollow you all the time. I don't think following new people is playing any role in that. We have built... how should we focus more time on now on Instagram with this great new advice, or keep pushing Facebook as it's a lot more following on there? I would keep pushing Facebook. If you have a platform already built out, just keep feeding that, and the best thing you can do is, if you have an engaged following, encourage them to follow you on Instagram. I do think it depends on what your role is. If you're trying to get more gigs, yeah, maybe it may be better to put more time into Instagram, because like promoters are concerned about reaching, the most people possible, and generally clubbers are younger and more clubbers are on Instagram than Facebook. But what I will say is this: do not abandon a platform where you have built a following for a platform where you don't have a following. Try and bring your following from Facebook. It sounds obvious, but try and bring your following from Facebook over to Instagram as efficiently as you can. And my advice would be only post your best, most, the stuff that you think is the best onto Instagram. Don't worry about every single day posting to Instagram if you already have a good thing going on Facebook. Can you post too much, Gowser? I think you should really just focus on the quality of your posts. If you're waking up saying, what should I post today, and have no idea, it's definitely fine to not be posting as much. You want the goal is to have every time you post it connect with your audience. So it's not a quantity question, it's a quality question. You obviously want to be active, But if that's a post a week and those posts are really well thought out and really good and perform well, you're in a great spot. What kind of posts would you recommend to a DJ who's just starting? It's hard when you don't have a lot of footage and you don't produce music. I would share your interests. I would actually start your page very similar to what Super Progressive stands as, which is like a curation of music for other people interested in this type of music, because at least when you then go to promoters and labels, you can show that you have a passion for this music that is beyond, the average passion for this music. So even if you don't have a lot of music like that you're releasing, you can say, yo, I'm really passionate about this. If you're just starting out, it's a good way to land like a quality opening gig or something like that, because more or less like they're going to give those gigs, even if it's the opener, to someone who's really passionate about the music. And if you can show your Instagram and say that you're passionate, one, you might reach new people to promote your music further, but two, you can show promoters, show labels like, yo, this is what I'm about. Have you ever tried to use paid posts as sponsored? Is it helpful to reach community with new followers? What do you think about it? I've never boosted a post in my entire life, because when Facebook or Meta sees that, or Instagram sees that you're boosting posts, they're gonna limit the reach of that post, so of your future posts, so you feel compelled to keep paying more and more. I have never boosted a post in my entire life, and nobody has to boost a post. That's my answer to that. Question: have you ever? Okay, I have that. How do you feel about going live on Instagram? Is it good while you are doing a set as a venue? I think it's negligible. I think it's good to go live for a moment, but don't feel like you have to go live for the whole thing. And it's really just like, I've probably gone live like 10 times. It's not something that drives growth, but it's fun for me at least. So I just do it. If you find it fun, I'd go live for a little bit. I wouldn't go live at a gig, honestly. Like, I would just go live more for the behind the scenes types of things. If you only have 100 followers, I made a video that things go, how can I make it go viral so more fans will see my music? If you only have 100 followers, I would DM that reel to every single one of your followers. If you have 100 followers only, it probably sounds like you know most of those people, and I would just ask them to do you a favor and say, hey, can you post this to your story, please? And that's how I'd go about it, honestly, with just 100 followers. Any advice starting a completely new IG with 0 followers? What would your approach be to 100, 500, 1,000? Stick to one topic and go ham on it. So what I mean by that is like, if you have 0 followers, I would do like 30 straight posts of like track of the day, or like new music spotlight. I would just pick like a series to do for 30 posts, and then that's what I do. What I did for my first 30 posts was like a mixed compilation a day for 30 days, just giving my reviews about a mixed compilation. What's great with a new profile is then your audience will be like, hey, I know what to expect from this account. This is the account that I follow to get, each day they post like a new mixed compilation, or each day they post a new track. I like their taste. That's the best way, I'd say, to go from 100, maybe up to 500, and then you expand on that. Okay, so now that we're like a page that posts mixed compilation or new music, now we're starting to post videos of that new music, gig footage of that new music, things like that. That would be my advice there. What do you recommend? Oh, yeah. I do not recommend boosting, and I never will, and I think it is only for promoters who want to sell tickets. One of my most successful posts is a compilation. Yeah, that's great. Is a compilation of times Hernan Catano supported my music. A perfect example of how you can post music, or posts that are about you but not only feature you. Should you auto share to Facebook from Insta? Yes. If you have multiple Instagram accounts, how do you share the accounts across? Go on YouTube, and there's like a and if you have, how do you share across in Instagram? This is like something that you're gonna have to go to YouTube and just follow tutorials for. But when you post to Instagram, you can there's a way to connect your accounts, so you can say post to this account and all the other accounts that you're logged into. That's how you'd go about that, about cross-posting to your other accounts. Should you auto-share from Insta to Facebook? Yes, as many times. I never do. Okay, someone's asking if it's a good idea to clean up posts, clean up your feed, and as you move forward. I've never deleted a post I've ever made. I put in the work. Maybe a few people will like that post specifically when they come back. I never delete any post that I've ever put in the work of making. I do not recommend going back and go back and cleaning up your feed. Any other questions? I will send this. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to share this presentation with you. Stop sharing. I'm going to share this presentation for you via email. I really want to thank every single person who joined here. This was really helpful for me personally. Not like, well, it was helpful to hear from you, but it was just really fulfilling. I just really want to help you all spend as much time as possible on your music, less time on Instagram, help push the scene forward. What's going to push this scene forward are artists. Artists push this scene forward by making better DJ music, by making better mixes, by making better productions. How that happens is by freeing up your time. Social media really can be the most distracting thing, and it shouldn't be. So I just hope, again, the mission of this is to help you spend less time on social media, more time on your music. I hope it helps you do that. And I just want to thank everyone for joining. This was like immensely successful. So thank you.